food, weapons, tools, and shelter. Their culture is wilderness. The food is deer, turkey, rabbit, reptiles, game birds, fish, and shellfish. The weapons and tools are bow and arrow, trees, and other natural materials. The shelter is dome-shaped huts. B. Explain reasons for European exploration and settlement of North America with emphasis on the interests of the Spanish and British in the southeastern area. The reason for European exploration and settlement of North America was for the three G's: God, gold, and glory.
SS8CG2. The legislative branch of state government is the Georgia General Assembly, which consists of the Senate and a House of Representatives. It makes the general requirements of the state. B. The purpose of the General Assembly is to make laws. C. If the governor vetoes the bill, 2/3 of the members are need to override a veto act or other laws enacted and the session are printed in the Georgia Laws series. D. The state of Georgia, like most other governments, operates under a financial plan called a budget.
SS8H3. Analyze the role of Georgia in the American Revolutionary Era. A. The causes of the American Revolutionary War. In a nutshell, the British wanted to make as much money as possible. Out of the 13 colonies, Great Britain was the mother country. Refer to colonialism. Many of the colonists came from Great Britain. They shared the same ideals and the same king. B. Legislative, legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch. Preamble. A brief introduction to speech like the preamble. Preamble. A brief introduction to speech like the preamble to the Constitution that starts out, "We the people of the United States," in order to form a more perfect union, do ordain. Is this grievances, a wrong considered as grounds for complaint caused distress, equitable taxation is a chief grievance. Declaration, a formal or explicit statement or an announcement. C. Loyalists and patriots. The Revolutionary War split the people of the American colonies into groups. The Loyalists and the American colonies to gain their independence from Britain. They wanted their own country called the United States. D. The weakness. The major downfall of the Articles of Confederation was mainly weakness.
SS8H2. Analyze the colonial period of Georgia's history. A. Explain the importance of the Charter of 1732, including the reasons for settlement, philanthropy, economics, and defense. The importance of the Charter of 1732 was it was the charter that granted James Oglethorpe the right to colonize Georgia. B. Analyze the relationship between James Oglethorpe, Tamichi, and Mary Musgrove in establishing the city of Savannah and Yamacraw Bluff. The relationship between James Oglethorpe, Tamichi, and Mary Musgrove in establishing the city of Savannah at Yamacraw Bluff is they were all friends who helped each other to establish Savannah. C. Evaluate the role of diverse groups: Jews, Salzburgers, Highland Scots, and malcontents in settling Georgia during the Trustee period. The role of the diverse groups in settling Georgia during the trustee period was that the Jews established congregation.
Scoot over. My bad. You can keep going, but scoot over.
Too late now. Stop it.
No.
The role of the diverse groups in settling Georgia during the trustee period was that the Jews established congregation McVie Israel, which is the oldest Jewish congregation in the South and the third oldest in the United States. The Salzburgers were the first group of Georgians to develop a water-powered frost mill, a Sunday school, and an orphanage. The Highland Scots was given their own land near the abandoned Fort King George, which they named Darien. With the promise of owning their own land, the Highland Scots fought in the Battle of Bloody Marsh. The malcontents complained about the trustee regulations for the Georgia colony. D. Explain the transition of Georgia into a royal colony with regard to land ownership, slavery, alcohol, and government. The transition of Georgia into a royal colony took a lot of time. Land ownership, the royal governors let the colonists own land, but everybody couldn't own land, as in black people, women, and the poor people couldn't own land. Slavery. At first, the colony of Georgia was against slavery. Then, out of nowhere, the royal governors came along and told the other colonies that slavery was not allowed, and the Georgia became one of the biggest slave colonies. Government. The colony of Georgia was governed by royal governors, and they were being told what to do by King George II. Royal governors. There was 3 royal governors of Georgia: John Reynolds, Henry Ellis, and James Wright. E. Give examples of the kinds of goods and services produced and traded in colonial Georgia. Some examples of the kinds of goods and services produced and traded by Georgia was silk, rice rivers, and indigo.
SS8 CG3. The lieutenant governor is the second highest elected official in the state and as such has a great deal of influence. B. Evaluate how the executive branch fulfills its role through state agencies that administers programs and enforce laws.
SS8G1. Locate Georgia in relation to region, nation, continent, and hemispheres. Georgia region. Georgia is located in the southwestern United States. Georgia nation. Georgia is located in the United States of America. Georgia continent. Georgia is located on the continent of North America. Georgia hemisphere. Georgia is the northern and western hemisphere. B. Distinguish among the 5 geographic regions of Georgia in terms of location, climate, agriculture, and economic contribution. The Appalachian Plateau region, the Valley and Ridge region, the Blue Ridge region, the Piedmont region, the Coastal Plain region. D. Analyze the importance of water in Georgia's historical development and economic growth. The importance of water in Georgia's historical development and economic growth is the population of people living there has grown and they are demanding more water and they use the rivers they have to trade. That's why it's so important.
SS8 CG4. Court of Appeals. There are 15 judges on the Georgia Court of Appeals, each chosen by the people in partisan elections to serve a 6-year term. All aspects of selection are shared with the Georgia Supreme Court, except that the Chief Judge serves for 2 years instead of 4. B. Analyze the dual purpose of the judicial branch to inspect the laws of Georgia and administer justice in our Georgia legal system. C. The difference between civil law and criminal turns on the difference between two different objects which law seeks to pursue redress or punishment. D. Criminal justice is a process involving a series of steps beginning with a criminal investigation and ending with the release of convicted offender from correction suspension. Rules of decision making are at the center of this process. Last one. All right.
SS8 CG1. Describe the foundations of Georgia's government. Preamble. A brief introduction to speech like the preamble to the Constitution that starts out, "We the people of the United States in order to form a more perfect union." Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. Framework of what would become the American system of publicity. Yeah, I know. But the Western movement of Georgia's capitals. Georgia's capital cities, Augusta, Georgia, moved its capital from Savannah to Augusta in 1785 to be more accessible to people moving west. Atlanta, Georgia. Eventually, the state capital was moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
We're done.